When you're working with cloud code, one of the key aspects to keep in mind is security. And today I'll show you how to use the AI agent in order to get your cloud code very secure. So to illustrate that, here I have a test app that I have, and I created into my main.js file a parse cloud code function called update user. This will read a user ID from the request, then it's going to query the parse user class looking for that user ID. Once it gets this user, it is going to set its login in property to true and then save it. And there are many problems with this code the way it is. For instance, anyone that could, for instance, extract this request from my front end would be able to call this method and change any user that they could get their hands on the user ID. So it means I could get another user's user ID, send it in and get the login property set to true, and also set other properties as well if I had those set in the code. Now we can use the AI agent to get this code much more secure. And here I have the Back4App AI agent. If you don't have the screen, all I have to do is to click this AI agent button over here and it will open a new agent for you. So you have to click here and then you have to describe exactly what you're trying to achieve. So in my Back4App account, I have an app named, if I'm not wrong, the name is upload test. Upload test. In this app, I have a cloud code function named update user. Check the code and inspect for security breaches. Ensure only authenticated users can call this code and all operations in the code are run with the user's permissions. Enter and let's wait to see how it's going to connect to my app and try to inspect the code and see what improvements it can do. So there you go, this update user has been successfully updated, and let's refresh the screen to check which improvements the AI agent did. So back to my main.js file, as you can see, it first started by checking if I have a request user. It means that if I don't, it's going to throw a new error telling me this user must be authenticated in order to run this code. This by itself already implies a lot more security because it breaks the app for those trying to just hit the endpoints without authentication. They need to have a valid session token, which means having a valid user registered to the system in order to execute this code. So once it passes the authentication test, it's going to get the user ID from the request and not from a parameter anymore. So this also ensures this user being called is the user that actually authenticated, which means I cannot change another user. I only have power to change my own user. Then it's going to parse query that user by its object ID, and then it's going to call the first method to retrieve only one user. But this is the important part. It's now impersonating the permissions for this user by passing the session token. So now, from now on, this function will only have access to all records that have the ACLs or access control lists and CLPs or class level permissions that allow this user to read and write. So the way it was before, I could pretty much change any other record if I wasn't authenticated, and even authenticated, I could change other users' records. Now I can only call this code if I am authenticated, and I can only change my own record. And even so, I will check the permissions again to ensure I have access to changing my own records. So if I don't have this user, it's going to throw a new parse error, then it's finally going to set my logged in property to true, and finally save it. And once again, it's passing the session token, so it means I can only change what I have permissions to. Now, this is pretty much more secure now because I don't have access to all other users' information. I cannot change any other users. I need to have a valid user within the system in order to execute the code, and even if I do, I can only change my own user depending on the ACLs and CLPs that I set. So this is a very basic example on how to improve the security of your cloud code by using the Back4App AI agent. As you can see, it's very easy. All you have to do is to prompt to the AI agent what you're trying to achieve. It's going to connect to your code, it's going to read it, and it's going to improve it, and it's very reliable and fast. So I really invite you to test this AI agent tool that we just built because it is awesome. So if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like in this video and consider subscribing to the channel so it can help us grow. I'll also share this link with a friend and they can learn something too. If you're already subscribed, thank you for that. And if you have any questions, suggestions, or an implementation you'd like to see, please leave in the comment section down below. We always answer all the questions. I hope this content was useful to you and hope to see you back. See you soon. Bye bye.